would note that we're here for a very obvious reason. The door was opened, and now we're dealing with that. And the door shouldn't have been opened. I'm reminded. But in this instance, I'm going to be very open and honest about why I'm going to vote for this resolution. That's why. Again, recognizing the statements that the representative has made, I find to be highly problematic, extremely concerning, raising very serious questions from a foreign affairs perspective.
You know what, folks? Enough is enough. Chip Roy just stood on the House floor and said what millions of Americans have been thinking for years. We're done playing nice while Democrats break every rule in the book. This wasn't just a speech, it was a declaration that Republicans are finally fighting back. And tonight, we're breaking down exactly why this moment matters, not just for Congress, but for the future of America itself. Before we dive in, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to Congress Chaos, and hit the bell so you never miss when we expose the truth they don't want you to hear.
Being part of all those conversations, the Senate lawyer and the Judiciary Committee, Bill first decided not to deploy the nuclear option. In 2013, Harry Reid did deploy the nuclear option. 2017, then certain things changed at the United States Supreme Court. So now we live in that world. It is what it is. Now here we sit. The door was opened. I just went back and reread my speech on the floor because the gentleman, I hadn't done that yet. I went back and reread my speech on the floor. I stand by every word of that speech. And in it, I referenced the fact that I had just a few months prior had been in agreement with some of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle with respect to January 6th, which there's disagreements on our side of the aisle on some of that with respect to the votes at the time, and that I'd taken very strong disagreement and sought apology from our colleague on our side of the aisle about some of the remarks that were said, but felt that this was not the right path to go down. I stand by that. So here we sit. I could associate myself and do with all the remarks the gentleman from South Carolina. I have very strong disagreement with a lot of the statements that Representative Omar has made. We've covered most of them. That some people did something is the one that really sticks in my craw pretty strongly. Raises a whole lot of flags for me. I think there are a significant amount of justifications to raise issues with respect to service on the Foreign Affairs Committee, but I would not go down this road. But I'm also reminded, in August of 1993, Juan Gonzalez was a batter for the Texas Rangers and was plunked by Alex Fernandez from the White Sox. And just a little bit later, Robin Ventura came to the plate for the White Sox, and Nolan Ryan was on the mound. And Robin knew what was about to happen. Nolan plunked him. And then Robin Ventura charged the mound, and then Nolan Ryan beat the crud out of him on the mound. That's what happened. We all know that's what happened. Old school baseball. Nolan Ryan defined old school baseball. This is raw politics. That's what this is. When the door is opened, then there's a question, and you have to decide what you're going to do. We're not going to unilaterally disarm. Just not going to do it. I'm tired of that. It just is what it is. Guys took a shot at someone on our team, about statements I disagreed with and took very much to task. But I've got strong disagreements with Representative Omar. I would prefer, if it were just starting from scratch, I would not choose this path. I'd just say whatever stuff you all want to say. We'll say whatever stuff we want to say. Our managers will pick our team. Let's go battle it out in committee. That's what I would say. I would say that's the right place to be. But at this point in time, it is my considered judgment that, like Nolan Ryan, we've got to respond. And I'm just going to be blunt and honest about it. That's just my belief. I think it's important. And I hope we'll get through this. We'll kind of hip check each other. Maybe we can sit down and figure out by the end of this Congress, next Congress, whoever's in charge, we figure out how we're going to play ball going forward and set those rules. And I would say the same thing about open rules, closed rules, structured rules. And the ranking member could scoff. We've had X number of votes. We'll have continued debate about this stuff over time. There will be closed rules. There will be structured rules. There will be open rules.
Chip Roy just dropped one of the most brutally honest speeches we've seen in Congress in a long time. No spin, no sugarcoating, just raw trut. He said it himself, the door was opened. Meaning, Democrats started this political warfare years ago, and now they're shocked when Republicans finally fight back. Roy reminded everyone how it began: Harry Reid's nuclear option in 2013, committee removals, and political payback. Democrats broke the rules first, and now they're crying foul because it's coming back around. Let's be honest, Roy didn't pretend this was about feelings or political games. He said it clearly. Ilhan Omar's comments, especially that disgraceful "some people did something remark about 9/11, crossed a line that no American patriot could ever defend. That line insulted every family that lost someone on that dark day. And yet, Democrats still let her sit on the Foreign Affairs Committee, making decisions about America's security and foreign policy. That's not leadership, that's insolent. Why Roy said something that hit hard: politics isn't softball anymore, it's old school baseball. He compared it to Nolan Ryan hitting back after being targeted, because sometimes, you have to throw a pitch that sends a message. And you know what? He's right. For too long, Republicans have sat back while the left used every trick in the book to silence us. But this time, Roy said what needed to be said: we're not going to unilaterally disarm. And that's the truth. We can't keep pretending that fairness exists in Washington when one side is constantly rewriting the rules. If Democrats want to play hardball, fine. But they better be ready to take the hits when they come back around. Roy also made it clear he didn't want it to come to this. He said he'd rather both sides just pick their teams and battle it out in committees. That's how Congress should work. But that door, as he said, has already been opened. And now, he's simply walking through it with the courage to defend America's principle. What I loved about this moment is that Roy didn't just talk politics, he talked reality. He wants Congress to rebuild trust, to find a system that's fair, with open rules and honest debate. But let's face it, trust in DC is long gone. As Roy put it, every move is treated like war. And until the left learns to respect the process, there's no peace on Capitol Hill. This speech wasn't about revenge, it was about accountability. It was about standing up for a country that's been mocked, divided, and disrespected by radical voices for far too long. Chip Roy made it clear, this wasn't ideal, but it was necessary. Why? That's what leadership looks like in 2025, not weakness, not silence, but strength and strategy. And if more Republicans had the guts that Chip Roy showed in that moment, this country might just have a fighting chance to get back on track. If you're proud of leaders who refuse to bow down, then make sure to like this video, share it with fellow patriots, and subscribe to Congress Chaos, where we bring you the truth the mainstream media refuses to talk. Because here's the bottom line: the left opened this door. Now, they're about to find out what happens when real Americans walk through it. If you're sick of double standards, tired of seeing patriots punished while radicals get rewarded, hit that like button, subscribe, and join the fight right here on Congress Chaos. We're just getting started, and trust me, the truth's about to get loud.